Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Coloniano D, and welcome back to my Generation X olfactory experience. Today I'll be reviewing from the house of Sarah Baker Perfumes. It's Tartan Cask. Tartan Cask is a limited seasonal release here in 2024. It's a smoky fragrance and it's an oriental type fragrance. And Tartan Cask is preceded by Tartan, which was released back in 2017. I actually had Tartan and used the whole bottle. I don't save empty bottles. I now wish I did had I known Tartan Cask would follow just for presentation and maybe getting one more squirt of fragrance out of that bottle to compare the two. So I don't. This will be a standalone Tartan Cask review. Now, tartan is a Scottish material. It looks like plaid. It's soft, very fine, threaded. And, they make scarves or maybe a pillow out of it. Really nice. And if I'm not mistaken, they can make a tie out of it from what I gather. So let's go over the presentation. Now, it's dark gray box with a hologram, and it looks like a Korean countertop to me. That's the first thing that came out into my head when I saw this. So, that's just what it is. And what's interesting is on the inside is also a hologram. As you can see, it is that reflective material in there. And there we go. And also on the inside, which is interesting, it seems like it's a script to a play. It's a script to a play, and I haven't read it. It's pretty interesting. I just went over a few lines. I just have to make sense of it and go over it and read it. Excuse me. So So that's the presentation, the outer presentation. And let's go over the bottle now. Over the past, I guess, 2 years, they changed the presentation, the bottle presentation. They were more on the darker side, a small square box. And the theme was the fragrance on the outside of the box. So this is the new presentation with the Sarah Baker crest on the top there. Really nice, really nice. So that's your presentation of Tartan Cask. Now let's go over the notes. The notes, we have smoke, moss, bread, sandalwood, leather, tobacco, heather, cedar, peaty whiskey. If you love a good smoky opening to your fragrance, Tartan Cask really nails it. It's my scent of the day. I sprayed this about almost 2 hours ago, and the smoke, it's very smoky. The smoke is not a burned wood type of smoke like a cade oil they would put in there. To me, it's more like ash from a spent pipe. Now, I have a little story. My Uncle Louie back in the day smoked a pipe every so often during a visit when Uncle Louie would stop by. As a kid, grown-ups were always asking you to fetch something for them, to get their whatever. Auntie wanted you to grab her pocketbook for her. So Uncle Louie would ask me to bring him his pipe. I recall his pipe smelling resinous, or there was a residue on the pipe. There was a mix of fresh tobacco and the ashes. Now, if you have ever smelled the inside of a spent tobacco pipe, this is what the opening of Tartan Cask reminds me of. So when I say smoky at the top, it's really not burnt wood. This is more like ashes from a pipe. And for some reason, I used to put my nose to that pipe, close to the burnt ashes. I was really intrigued by it, and I would have the smell of pipe on my hand between the ash, because when Uncle Louie used to clean it out, you used to have to pick that. So, you know, the ash residue gets on your hands, and that's what that pipe. It was a heavy wooden type pipe, really good quality pipe, I can remember. And that's why the smell of the opening of this resonates with me. And I'm so happy that I picked this up, because this is what I like in a smoky fragrance. When they say smoky, I'm not much into, you know, standing next to an open fire and smelling like that. If I go to, you know, camping and we're outside and we got a little, you know, burning some wood and drinking some beers, okay, that's fine. But I don't think I want to wear a fragrance that smells like I was sitting next to a campfire. Now, after the initial blast, the heavy blast right in the beginning, the ash accord sort of neutralizes a bit, but it's still there. And the rich and boozy tobacco appears. There is a hint of sweetness. The sweetbread. Now, sweetbread to me, it's minimal, and that's what Tartan was. It had a little sweetness, it had the bread, it had pretty much had the same notes except for the smokiness. The whole wheat comes to mind when it comes to a natural sweet bread. So compared to white bread, whole wheat is a little bit more sweeter. And so after about 2 hours in, a light floral appears. It turns a little woody and a light floral appears. And it may very well be that heather. The heather is a floral type note, and it's a sweet type floral, very light, very light. So you get that smoky opening and that boozy tobacco, and you get that little sweet, very light floral in there. The woods start to move in from the cedar wood, which brightens up that smokiness, and the tobacco. Really, really nice. That cask booziness also neutralizes. I use the term neutralizes with the smoke and whiskey is because they are the most prominent notes, and they can be harsh. Whiskey and, you know, smoke can be harsh, absolutely. And the smokiness throughout the duration of the fragrance every so often reappears, so that smokiness never really goes away. It sticks with the fragrance. It's really nice. Now, as the fragrance progresses, Tartan Cask becomes woodier, smoother, and warmer. You get the tobacco, some light florals. The moss is very light. The moss comes in at the end. It's really nice. It really rounds out this fragrance with the woods, and you get a slight leatheriness from the labdanum, okay? Now, with the warmth of the fragrance, amber is not a note listed, but I get a touch of amberiness, just a touch, which it could be the labdanum. So there is no amber note in it, but how the fragrance just warms up, it's just fantastic. It's warm, it's creamy, from that sandalwood starts to move in while still holding on to bits of smoke and booze. Really nice. I'm so glad this is not, as I mentioned before, an in-your-face smoke that can come out and it could be a problem for me. I don't want to smell like I was standing at a campfire, not being at a campfire, to put it in simplest terms. Now, Tartan Cask, to me, is Tartan turned badass. He listens to rock and roll and rides a Harley. So compared to Tartan, which is not as smoky and not as dense, Tartan Cask is a badass. Now, the projection is great. I'm a heavy sprayer, so this can go all day for most part, I can tell you that. And Tartan Cask, as we reach the life of the application, Tartan Cask eventually turns into a rich, woody, ambery fragrance with a hint of sweetness. It's warm, it's creamy and smoky from the agarwood. That's Tartan Cask. Really, really nice. This is solid. The smokiness is always there, but very lightly. Very lightly. It's really, really nice. This is a very nice seasonal fragrance, perfect for this time of the year. We've had some cold weather. I know they're getting blasted up in the Northeast somewhere. In Buffalo, I think, had what, 2 feet of snow. I was watching that football game. It was pretty incredible. The longevity is a solid 8 to 10 hours, depending on how heavy you spray. And just when you think Tartan Cask has faded, it reemerges. It just lasts a good part of your wearing. It's really nice, and all of a sudden you think, oh, I smell great. I smell great. So this is another solid release from the house of Sarah Baker Perfumes. And like I had mentioned earlier, it is a limited seasonal release. Try and get your nose on it. And if you've tried it, if you have it, if you've tried Tartan, the original, let me know your thoughts. Feel free to leave a comment. And that's pretty much my review of Tartan Cask from Sarah Baker Perfumes, 2024 limited seasonal release. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I will absolutely see you next time. Thanks.